Good afternoon, friends and brothers. This is your friend and brother Johnny Rutledge, preacher down here by the sea. Just want to send you out a little message, I was just thinking about the reason why we sometimes don't get the things that we are praying for or the things that we're asking God for. It's oftentimes we don't ask God in the same voice or the same spirit or the compassion in which He has ordained us to ask Him. For instance, in the Word it says that if you can believe it, you can receive it. Now, why is it that when we say we believe something, we never receive it? Now, let's just take an instance in one case where two sisters had lost a brother, and they had went as far as to declare that brother dead, and that brother had been buried a few days. But then the reality of it was when the sisters got to Jesus, they asked Jesus and first made a complaint about the fact that if he had been there, their brother would not have died. And some believe that that was the case, but by no means were God standing around watching to see who was going to die and who was going to live. So he was testing their faith, and he was giving them an opportunity to reach out to him in faith, knowing that if they could believe, they could receive. But the boy lay dead in a cave, and the reality of that death was that nothing could bring him back except the Spirit of God. But they did not ask God to bring him back. They simply wanted God to know that they had lost faith in him, because they did not believe that if he really truly loved them, he never would have let him die in the first place. We're oftentimes like that. And sometimes we feel that we have a right to complain to God about what we think. Lord, if you hadn't been there, Lord, what would have happened? On and on and on, until I think we make God kind of upset with the fact that we're complainers and whiners. But here's the thing. When Jesus took the case and accepted the cry and the plea of the people, he asked the simple question, where is he laid? Where is this man that has died? Where is he? And they told him he was in this cave and he had been buried a few days. And Jesus said, let's go there. And immediately as he went to the cave, this was what was strange to me. No one even asked, are you going to try to raise him from the dead? No one even asked, are you going to pray with us about what happened or anything? You know what they did? They simply started complaining again. Lord, he's been dead so many days. Surely he stink now. Surely, Lord, surely he in the worst case. Jesus said, where is he? And then when they showed him the cave, even though Jesus knew where he was, immediately he looked at that tomb, he looked at that cave, and he broke the spell of death by saying these words, dead man, Lazarus, come forth and live. Basically, he called Lazarus by name. And when you call someone by name, you literally wake them up. And this is what happens. Even if you're walking around, someone walking down the street, they call your name, it wakes you up. It turns you around. It makes you look in the attention of your name being called. Jesus had something extra to offer in this case. He had the power of the living God, because he was God. And immediately when he called that dead man name, that dead man heard his voice, and that dead man rose to his feet. And the next thing the people knew, that the dead man was walking up out of that cave. But here's the thing with this. Jesus gave us something to do. Even once he answered our prayer, answer our request, we must prepare ourselves to come before him. In other words, once he answered your prayer, once he reached that place where your petition is no longer a petition and it's no longer a promise, it is a fulfillment, then you need to straighten yourself up. You need to clean up the old, get rid of the old stuff, take off that dead man attire, and come before the living God in a brand new spirit, with a brand new mind and a brand new attitude, because you've been delivered. Not only has you been delivered as Lazarus was delivered from death, but you've been delivered from the old man. You've been delivered from the doubt. You've been delivered from the discouragement. You've been delivered from the inconsistency of believing and seeing that God has done this many times before. So this is what I'm saying to you, brothers and sisters. This is what I'm saying to you out there. If you hear the voice of God, harden not your heart. If you hear the voice of God, believe that you receive, and that you're praying for, God will answer. God will answer you. But remember now, when you come before a living God, you're not a dead man walking. You are alive and well. And that's what Jesus told him. Remove the grave clothes, because I cannot entertain death, because I am life. So if God has answered your prayer for your church, answer your prayer for your marriage, answer your prayer for your children, don't come before God with all that dead man stuff, all that old history, all that what the slaves did. You are now a new creature. You are now a new creature. You've been born again. You've been ordained. You've been sanctified. You've been Holy Ghost filled. So stand up and be that in the presence of a living God, and watch another miracle take place, which is, as it was with Lazarus, people came from all around to see that man that was once dead but now live. It wasn't that they wanted to see the miracle. They wanted to make sure that what was being said was true. And when they saw the man that was dead alive again, they too had faith. It had faith in God. They knew that all those witnesses said Lazarus was in the tomb stinking, but Jesus called his name and he got up and he lived again. Brothers and sisters, that's the same Jesus we have today. If he call your name, rise to your feet. Remove yourself of your old ways, your old habit. Get rid of the dead man clothes and stand before the Lord like a living man, a living woman that you are. And you will see the whole community turn to you and marvel after your new person. Marvel after your life reflective individuality, that you now live and you're no longer dead. God bless and keep you is my prayer. Again, this is Bishop Johnny Rutledge, down here by the sea preaching. God bless and keep you is our prayer.